So good afternoon, everyone. Hope you have a kind of energizing lunch break and you are ready for this afternoon session. And very delighted to be here with you to talk about the change and what does it take a very big traditional company to get in the change mode. Just a few words about the company I work currently for. Kesko is a big retailer here in the Northern Europe. We operate in 9 countries, have 3 big business areas: car business, grocery, focusing here only on the local market, and then we have our international arm is the building and technical trade. So we are about 45,000 people in the K Group, so it's not a startup operation anymore. And we also have a long history, so almost 80 years of traditional retail. So this is the starting point for the change, what we have been doing for the past 2.5 years now. But let's start from here. I personally believe that everything that can be digital will be. And this is actually a very, very old quote by Mr. Jeff Dages from Razorfish. He said this 20 years ago in 1997. And that was when I started my digital journey. But also for retail, this is so true today. So everything that can be impacted by digital will be impacted. And that's a kind of the key driver for us as well. Today, as you guys know, the world is changing very, very, very fast. And it's obvious that maybe digital transformation and digital technology is the driver behind the change. And for example, if you have a look on the Standard & Poor's index, that's a kind of a listing that lists 500 kind of most valuable corporations in the US. You can note that during the past decades, the average tenure of the company on that list had declined from 40 years to 20 years. So kind of it has like a half just in 10, 15 years of time. And also it has been forecasted that the half of that 500 companies will disappear in the next 10 years if the current churn rate holds. So there will be new companies on the list. We haven't heard anything yet. And where do these companies come from? I believe that they really have a DNA in the digitization or in digital technology. So it will be interesting times. But this is the same world for us traditional companies as well. The pace of the change is faster than ever before, and we just have to get these 45,000 people totally to the new rhythm in our operations as well. For me, I would say that the technology is not important per se, but it's really important to understand how our consumers take this as part of their everyday lives, how they make better decisions, how they connect to new people, how they make better business within the digital. And this is our new consumer, kind of born digital. These are about maybe 1/3 of our customers today, kind of digitally very savvy. And for them, for example, digital interfaces are more common than analog ones. And to these people, we need to talk in the future more better and better. And how people have then adapted the technology as part of their everyday lives. If you have a look on this chart here, you can see that how the people in the US has adapted technology since beginning of 1900 until today. And the dark red curves on the right are the technologies that people have adopted within the internet period. So you can see that the curves are vertical. So our customers, they really live the digital lives. And to be honest, we are not at all there yet. So what should companies do then? For me, I think that companies have two options. They can turn their digitization as their competitive advantage, or they can ignore it and do nothing. So obviously we have really taken the first option and really try to understand that what does it mean in digital work to be relevant in business also in 2 or 5 years' time. If you have a look on the outlook what the retail is having today, so it's quite gloomy, to be honest. So already in the first half of 2017, this year, about 19,000 jobs were lost in retail only in the US. And if you can, I put you a little bit on the framework, it's more people than the whole coal mining industry employs in the US, for example. And if you have a look on the past 2-3 months, it's the same curve we are seeing. So this dramatic change we have not seen yet in the Nordics. But to be honest, I haven't seen not a single digital trend that hasn't been landed in the Nordics or in Finland sooner or later. So why this should be different? So collapse in brick and mortar, very kind of savvy users, very demanding users, and then a big technology transformation. That's our world today where we are living at. Often when we talk about the digitization in the retail, the discussions focus on e-commerce or online stores. But to be honest, for us, it's only the tip of the iceberg. So as for us, as for every business, the digitization is a kind of Ophelia, which kind of met Ireland yesterday, that it goes through every single function, every single role, and every single business area what we are living at moment. So it kind of leaves its fingertips in marketing, how we talk to our customers, how we do the basic business, how we sell stuff to people. It really turns the company from opinion-driven to data-driven business, and also, of course, impacts the way we work. And maybe the biggest change, and maybe the hardest one, is the corporate culture, because the corporate culture just needs to change. Let's talk about a little bit about the stores. So we are having like 2,000 stores around Northern Europe, physical stores. And our focus has been like a 99.9% on the brick and mortar. So culturally, it's really difficult to challenge our business leaders that, come on, now you should focus. In order to be relevant in 2 to 5 years' time, you should put more focus on the, for example, e-commerce or digital services, which in business-wise is now, at the moment, probably only a rounding error compared to the 5 billion business, for example. But how we have tackled this problem is that, or challenge, or opportunity, is that for us, the modern store is a physical network plus all the digital services around it. And we just need to be much more better in integrating these channels and experience into the one, so that our customer don't see the difference anymore. And there we are only at the beginning on our journey, and the work goes on for kind of on the daily basis. So customer experience is one of the key drivers for our business. Digitization is also very often seen as a technology exercise, but for me it's 95% something else. I think that technology is the easiest part, to be honest. I said to my boss when I started that if you give me like 100 million, I can, make our system work, have a great APIs, the best of breed digital services, but it won't change anything unless we don't change ourselves. So we just need to change our way of thinking, our way of working, and also how we talk about our customers in general. And the fact is that when I joined the company 2.5 years, I was a little bit amazed how little we did talk about our customers. So the traditional thinking was that as Kesko, as a wholesaler company, is responsible for the retailers, and the retailer takes care of the rest. So to simplify it, we were responsible to take the stuff to the back door of the store, and that the retailer took care of the process from back door to the end customer. But for me, this is kind of the broken phone, and there's a broken process as well. So gradually, we have been started to talk about the customers. We are, as a company, there not only for the retailers and for our customer. And this might sound really kind of small and ridiculous thing, but this has really kind of make a change and has impacted in a positive manner on every discussions we have had with our retailers as well. So what digitization has done, it really has turned the world upside down, because until these days, every company it has been possible for the company to solve their own problems or challenges, or fine-tune their own kind of processes, for example. But today, in the very transparent world, the companies have had to turn their thinking from inside out to outside in. So focus on the customer, and everything else will follow afterwards. And actually, if you are trying to make the best for your customer, you really can't go very wrong. You are on the right track anyway. I think that one of the biggest kind of mantras during the past 2 years has been the customer experience, that every company needs to excel in customer experience. And what does it mean for retailer? Company like us, we can build our competitive advantage or competitive edge on the 3 cornerstones. We can have the kind of lowest prices on the market. But that corner is really busy at the moment. There's no room for us anymore. The second thing is you have either unique products or services nobody can copy. Apple is on that corner. We are not there. The milk can be bought everywhere else, or the other stuff we are selling. And the third thing is the customer experience. And that's a corner we have chosen, because that's also the hardest one to copy, and really can make the kind of customers more loyal to us as well. And we already now can see that they really vote for that corner as well. So put the focus on the customer, excel in customer experience, and try to win your customers on the everyday basis in omnichannel world, which is super important, obviously, as well. On our journey, data has been in a super critical role. And with data, we have been able to give guidance based on facts, not opinions. And for us, which have a kind of big loyalty programs in every country, collecting the data or the number of data is not at all a challenge. The real challenge is that, do you have the right data? And do you use in your everyday life? Do you change processes based on your data? Do you manage based on your data? And so forth. And that said, it's obviously that every company, small or big, has only some years to turn the company from opinion-driven or I know-driven to the data-driven. And if you don't turn your company into data-driven, you absolutely give kind of a leap to your competitors. One big challenge related to the data, I believe in every company, but especially the company with 45,000 people, is the data literacy. So not everybody can read the data, and not everybody can understand what to do based on the data. And the third thing related to that is also that do you have access to the data? And I believe that the company who will succeed in this data transformation has rolled down data to every level in the organization and has kind of released as much data as possible. Because me as a manager, I don't know what my kind of employees or team players need. What kind of data is relevant for their decision making? They know, and they should have access for that as well. So data makes us more. Data is a big thing for us, and there's a huge potential for us also in the coming years when we turn more towards AI and machine learning as well. So there we are only taking baby steps now, but very good progress on that side. So with the data, we are able to make better decisions, and what's more important, more decisions, and at the earlier stage. So roll the data, everybody, that will need that is super important. I talked about organization culture, and I think that that's super important in this whole journey. And for me, it's the key role for the change. When we talk about the corporate culture, it's often, some might say that, okay, this is a HR department's role to take care of the corporate culture, but for me it's not. It's like an ERP system for the strategy. So if you want to change something, you just need to culture work for that. And that needs to be on the top management agenda. So you need to lead this from top down, not the bottom up. And if the culture is broken, you can't really meet your strategic goals. During my career, I have worked both for traditional companies and companies in the new era. And if you have a look on those three kind of typical companies, this is not a kind of academic research. This is based on my personal observations. So you can see that they are kind of opposites, totally opposites. And that's a real life what we are living. And then there are two challenges related to this kind of categorization as well. The one is that which company the future talent employee would join. I would maybe ask for the new era companies, or which one type of the companies is kind of capable to answer better to our customer needs. So it's obvious that the new era companies will win this game if the traditional companies won't change. So maybe there's some change needed. So one of the biggest things is that the kind of management style and the culture and how you kind of lead your teams need to change as well. And actually, this is a very interesting phenomenon as well, that if you think about kind of the companies who have been in the business for years and years, they are typically very hierarchical. And boss has been the king, so he has known everything. But now, today's world, when the world is very complex, the boss doesn't simply have answers anymore to each of the questions. But the team members have, because that's where they're hired. So are we able to turn this picture also kind of upside down? So the boss shouldn't be there on the top. The boss should be in the middle of the organization and should be kind of orchestrate his team to be the kind of winning team on the marketplace. Our journey has just begun, and I believe that we need several ingredients in our digital journey. So one is that keep the focus on the customers, not internal problems, not internal processes, and excel in customer experience. Be data-driven, not base your decision-making on the opinions, rely on facts. And build the culture to drive the change. Be fast, less hierarchical, and empower the teams to excel in what they do. In the retail, kind of nothing has changed during the past 200 years. It has been like the same, so buying stuff for some price and selling them a little bit kind of a higher price. But now everything is really changing. And we just need to be part of that journey as well. This robot is Lowe's customer kind of service robot in Palo Alto. And it's just one of the glimpses to the future that what we'll be seeing more and more in the coming years. I feel that I'm like this Felix Baumgartner who jumped out of the stratosphere a few years back. And I've been thinking that what he might have been thought when he was kind of lifted up to the 39 kilometers and he was standing here at the edge of his capsule and thinking to jump or not to jump. And he jumped, and what a ride did he had. So thank you very much.